Horror Movies with Friends. I'm your host, Andy Green, aka Wolfmandy Screame, at least for the next, give or take, 27 days. That's right, we are on day 4 of this insane endeavor where 31 days, 31 movies, 31 guests, 31 different drinks from small businesses around the world. And this one, we're going as far away from LA as we can. And today, I am joined by a very special, my screamed guest, Matt Chamberlain, who I don't know where he is right now, but he's some...
Boo!
Boo! Oh man, Matt, welcome to the show. Welcome to this haunted couch.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and Matt, what are we watching today?
We are watching the 1987 film Bad Taste.
Bad Taste.
Directed by Peter Jackson, written by Peter Jackson, produced by Peter Jackson, shot by Peter Jackson, edited by Peter Jackson.
Starring Peter Jackson.
Starring Peter Jackson.
2 roles.
Special effects, makeup by Peter Jackson. So,
Peter Jackson, this episode's for you. Before we get into Bad Taste, it is streaming on PopcornFlix and TubiTV. So that's where you can find it to join in and get some of that bad taste in your mouth. And speaking of taste, I think it's time. Would you like a drink, Matt?
yeah, I'm a little parched.
A little parched? Yeah, that movie makes you want to put things in your mouth. What? I don't know. The gruel. This is our gruel for the episode. And while I am... oh, wait. I have to introduce the wine. What am I doing? This is from Middle-Earth, a New Zealand wine. Pinot Meunier Rosé. A 2020 Nelson grapes. And this is family owned. I'm like looking at you and they can't see me. Family owned. In New Zealand. Let's get a little pour. Let's see how this is. And I'll give you this glass here, Matt, because it would be rude. Ooh, look at that. That's a big pour. But you're one of my biggest friends. Like, I meant best friends, but like, because I said big, so.
The size, you mean?
No, just in terms of the size. Yeah, the size in my heart that I hold you.
But not physically.
Not physically, no.
Good.
Yeah, no, not physically.
That would be painful.
That would be painful? Yeah.
You said
No, I
that.
wouldn't. I'm
If you
not
said
shaming
that.
you like that. I was just trying to do a play on words that didn't work out very well, and I apologize. Okay, so this is sustainably farmed as well. All right, cheers.
Cheers. Should we smell it?
We should smell it. What do you smell? Honeysuckle?
Smell grapes.
You smell. I smell wine. Yeah. I get a little citrus on there.
Yeah, I mean, I can smell. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I can smell the alcohol in there.
Well, that is a smell. Alcohol does have a smell. Let's take a taste, and hopefully it's. I don't think it will be a bad taste.
Okay.
Ooh, that's refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
Crisp. How does it hit your tongue? How does it hit your? What's the mouthfeel?
Well, was this Middle Earth, right?
This is Middle Earth, and I think if anyone didn't make that connection, it's because this is a New Zealand film. Peter Jackson went on to, of course, direct Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. So I mean, if I was putting it in terms of.
Oh, in terms of loader.
In terms of characters from Lord of the Rings.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, it's not Gollum.
It's not Gollum. All right, we're gonna go down the list. Who else is it not?
It's certainly not
Smaug.
Smeagol.
Smeagol. Well, okay, yeah.
So it's not Gollum. It's certainly not Smeagol, and it's definitely not my precious.
It's not. It's. Oh, so you don't. But this isn't precious to you? Would you fight over this wine? I like we're just gonna clink again. That was your answer. There's no fighting over wine. That was a
I'm not gonna
question.
fight over it.
No, we're gonna.
I'm just trying to go through the characters, and to me, my precious is a character.
Okay. So we've eliminated one character in the ring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gollum,
Smeagol.
and my precious. It's not one of those.
Okay.
I want to say, if I'm being completely honest, I want to say like an old Bilbo Baggins.
Ooh, this tastes like an old Bilbo Baggins to you.
Like a Bilbo Baggins, not Martin Freeman, but an Ian Holm.
An Ian Holm Bilbo Baggins.
Bilbo Baggins, that's what it is, yeah.
It feels like, it feels like a brunch. You know, Bilbo Baggins brunch before the party that we saw in the first one. Does that feel about right?
Yeah, and you know, he has more life experience, but he's still a playful guy.
Oh yeah, he's got glimmer in the eye still. Yeah, and I think Ian Holm Bilbo. I was gonna say this is sort of a Merry or Pippin, but I think I like that one better. My initial went there, but I think it's definitely a Hobbit. This belongs in Hobbiton.
It's a Hobbit.
It's a Hobbit. It's a Hobbit and a habit for some people. And how does it fit with Bad Taste at all?
I think it does, because you have that kind of the playful notes that hit your tongue, and also your nose when you smell it. That reminds me of the youthful spirit of Bad Taste, because I feel like Bad Taste is a very youthful film.
Yeah.
You have, for one, Peter Jackson was very young when he made it.
Do you know how old he was off the top of your head?
I want to say he was in his early 20s.
Yeah.
Maybe 22, but I don't remember.
The Chiron below will tell us.
Yeah, maybe 22? Alright. I was probably right.
He's always right. Matt, you're always right.
I could be wrong, but it's okay.
No, but we're happier than ever today.
We're happier than ever to talk about Bad Taste.
Yeah. And is this the first movie we've seen together since 2019?
Let's do the math.
It's not 1 year. It's not 2 years.
Okay, yeah, this is the first movie we've seen.
I think it is. No. We watched Country Bears together during COVID, but that was through Zoom together.
That was virtual.
Yeah, Country Bears on Disney Plus.
Another good one.
Yeah, that was a classic. I want to get you a Country Bears tie-dye shirt. I shouldn't have told you that. I just did, because this is truth serum. What brought you? Because this was a movie choice that you brought in. Because you like to break rules. That's you're of the boys. And maybe we should say what the movie is really quick, and then we'll get to this.
Okay.
The movie is basically extraterrestrial, psychotics, a pack of Charlie Mansons, as Peter Jackson's Derek says, are basically terrorizing a small New Zealand town. They've basically taken it all over, and now the government sends in 4 experts to take care of it. And so you definitely take after the 2 rebels. And that's where I was getting it for. We have Ozzy and we have Mike. No, Mike's the actor's name. Frank.
Yeah.
Frank.
Ozzy and Frank.
Ozzy,
they're the rebels.
They're the rebels, and that's where you come in, because you're like, I'm not going to follow the rules that you have. I'm not going to follow the movies that you gave me. I'm going to find my own movie. And
I'll do whatever I want.
You won't finish it. No, we're not doing that. That's toxic stuff. Why did you want to do this movie?
All right, well, take you back in time. 20 years ago. I'm dating myself by doing this. 20 years ago, I was in high school. I was a high school student at Arcata High School in Arcata, California. Northern California, it's on the coast.
Arcata.
Small town. Anyways, I'm with my friend, Bryce. We go to the video store. Figurito's Video.
Still going on?
No.
Damn it.
No. Anyways, we're looking through the VHS tapes. I'm dating myself here. It's VHS. These are not DVDs.
Wow. And you saw some Bad Taste on VHS. That's pretty cool.
It's not on VHS. This VHS cover had been having its way with me for a while.
Ooh, yeah, I know how that, yeah.
It caught my eye, I'll put it that way.
And the cover, which we'll maybe cut to right now, is of the alien extraterrestrial flipping off camera, basically.
Flipping off the camera, and he has a gun in his hand.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
You're not.
Remember,
you're never wrong.
I'm never wrong. And the VHS cover also has 1/8. What does 1/8 mean? It's called an age. 18 years old. which implies that bad taste is not appropriate for everyone.
You have to be 18.
We're talking about flipping off the camera, which I'm not going to do. We're talking about guns. We're talking about gore, violence.
It's bad taste. It's in the title.
It's in the title. We know what we're getting into.
And I am really glad. I'm really glad you got me into this movie because I had never seen it, but it had been on my list for a while. And I think I'd actually started it with my dad, but it was too late. And I was like, oh no, I need to like pay full attention. And I have to say, there's no one I'd rather see this movie with than you. I think it's a Matt movie.
Thanks.
And it's definitely, I think it's a Mandy movie, a Matt Andy movie. Like I feel like it definitely gets both of our erogenous zones. Yeah. And to me, if you haven't seen this movie, the flavors I was getting, and I mean, so this felt like a lot like Edgar Wright. Like Edgar Wright feel like he saw this movie. There's a lot of Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead in here. I felt like, I mean, there's references to Evil Dead, The Shining, all kinds of films, and it was just such a, it's like you said, it's just young people having fun in a beautiful setting.
And he's making the movie with his friends. All the other actors are Peter Jackson's friends. So,
and they're all great for what they do what they need to do. I think Peter Jackson, correct me if I'm wrong, do you think he's the best performer in this?
He is, without a doubt. No doubt.
He has physical comedian chops and just like his expressions. I mean, the monsters, because they are undercover as humans, that gives you license to just be as goofy and weird with your face and body. And I think Peter Jackson does the best of anyone in there.
Yeah, and that's a hard, in my opinion, I mean, that's a hard thing to pull off, because there are a lot of directors who are like, oh, I want to act in my own movie. And it's not necessarily a great choice. But Peter Jackson, great choice. Fantastic choice.
And I think, I bet you he didn't really necessarily want to be both characters or whatever, but it was sort of out of necessity. And I feel like that's when the best filmmaking stuff happens. It's like, because he shaved his face at some point and he had to film these back and forth. There's some really good filmmaking or really dedicated stuff. I mean, obviously you listed all the things that he did on this movie. It's more things than I think I've probably done in my whole life. And he did it, in one movie. So good for, I don't know. I'm impressed. I came away. It's really fun. It's like a cheesy 80s action movie, almost more than a horror movie at a certain point. Like halfway, when the boys come, they're the, like, we got Nick Frost kind of sort of stuff happening.
It's definitely a hybrid between between different genres, right? It's comedy, it's action. Obviously it's action. There's a little bit of horror in there.
Well, I mean, all the guts and splatter and gore, and it's really good. Like, when we see the brain, there's a lot of brain action.
It's very imaginative. Every single way, like, I don't want to spoil the movie, and I'm not going to. But
you can, though.
Anywho.
Okay.
There's a scene in the movie where Peter Jackson as Derek, not going to tell you if it's the beginning or if it's the end, has a chainsaw. And he has a choice to make. He said he can either go into a house through the front door, or with a chainsaw in his hand, he can saw through a perfect silhouette of his body with the chainsaw and walk straight through that. And what does he choose?
Watch it to find out. But I think we know what he chose. And we're really glad he did choose that. It's a very effective chainsaw, this chainsaw. I think the whole movie, that's it in a nutshell. It's like we can do the easy thing or we can do the slightly off-kilter weird thing. Derek takes a tumble at some point and he spends the rest of the movie putting brains back into his head. And the movie doesn't need to make sense or it does make sense. In this world, that totally tracks to me. And I think anyone who would watch it and be like, oh, he should be dead, it's like, wrong movie, man.
You're not, if you have that idea in your head when you watch it, just turn it off. We don't want you.
But we'd like you to give it another shot. Yeah, we're friendly here, Matt. We're happier than ever.
Sorry.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm getting a little worked up because I'm a big fan of this film.
Yeah, no, I know. Is this the second or third time you've seen it? Fourth?
Well, I'm a big fan, but to be honest, this is only the second time I've seen it. Because, sometimes, like a good wine, good, like, you don't just want to drink it all the time. You want to save it for special occasions. And this is one of those films.
I know exactly that feeling where it's sort of, you love a film so much when you first watch it, and you just sort of want to age it on the shelf and watch it at a different period of time in your life when you get to come with a new perspective.
Exactly.
And now 20 years later, with all this, now you have all this life experience, and so does Peter Jackson. And how was the second watch? Did it held up clearly? I
would say it more than held up.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I remember having an enjoyable experience watching it in high school. A fun experience. It was a fun movie. 20 years later, man, oh man, am I happy. Am I happy that I chose this movie?
Happier than ever.
Happier than ever to choose Bad Taste to watch with you.
Oh.
I mean, come on.
Who has the worst taste than me? Yeah.
Well, I didn't say that. I would never say that.
No, you're too nice to say that.
I don't know.
And I think you'd be wrong if you said that, because, there are people that have worse taste than me.
But I would say this.
Ooh.
Here on this day, choosing Bad Taste, I believe, I would argue, proves that I, Matt Chamberlain, have good taste.
I agree. And I was in the moment the government gets a call at the beginning of the movie, and the guy answering it has like a robot finger, and that's how he's sort of like calling the government, or like calling the boys, basically. That was when I was in, and that was within 30 seconds. And I think that's the quickest so far of any movie that I've watched. Actually, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, I was in the second it started. But it's like, I wasn't not into this movie either. Like, that's a great thing for you just to be, okay, that's the sense of humor. It's all there in that moment, and it just only goes from there. We could talk endlessly about all the sort of cool effects, because that, to me, this is the first wingnut film, and the first, we see glimpses of Middle-Earth and what we're, because that's why those movies work so well, is because of all the practical effects. And you can see that Peter Jackson's fucking great at it.
Yeah, you can see he's great at a lot of things.
Yeah.
He's a visionary director. He shot this film. It's beautiful. It's beautifully shot, beautifully edited. It all just comes together. And yeah, the makeup and the special effects, you can't beat it. And
what makes it, I think, work, much like this wine, it like brings it together, is that comedy, that playful, it's a funny movie. And I think because like, he is not taking himself too seriously, and you can't, but also the low budget nature of this movie, it just fits the theme, and like just all the different creative ways with deaths, and I think with horror, that's what you want. You want to see something you've never seen before, and somehow what's so cool is that movies like this have way more creativity in them than the ones that have so much more money. Like, you've seen those deaths before, or you've seen that plot, or whatever it is. I've never quite seen this before, and it's a 30-year-old movie at this point. So yeah, thank you for putting this Bad Taste in my mouth.
Sure. The other thing about Bad Taste is attitude.
Ooh.
Right?
Oh yeah, it has a lot of it.
And that's, like comedy, like anyone can just slip on a banana peel.
You're right.
That doesn't mean it's,
not hilarious.
It's not hilarious, but we have attitude. We have Peter Jackson, a young Peter Jackson, with an attitude.
How old?
22, exactly. Look it up. I'm sure I'm going to be right.
Me too. He's never wrong.
So anyways, Peter Jackson, he's young. He loves making movies. That's the other thing about it.
You can just see that, yes.
There's no budget. He's with his friends. He's doing it for the love of it. It's only for the love of it. And he's just having a good time. And I'm sure there are plenty of scenes in this movie, which I love, that some producer in Hollywood if he saw the script, it would be like, have a, his red marker, Xing out.
Right.
Like, oh, he's gonna play patty. The aliens are gonna play patty cake. He's gonna peek into a room and the aliens are gonna play patty cake. No.
And you gotta play patty cake.
Yeah.
I think if there's ever an opportunity to play patty cake, you play patty cake.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the lesson of this film?
I think it is, and I think it's also just trusting your voice.
Ooh.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that is why the comedy works. That is why it's different than other films, is because Peter Jackson is completely trusting his voice.
Yes.
So.
And it's a very unique voice to American audiences or to us because it's so New Zealand. The accents, the slang, and then we have an Aussie character who, his name is Aussie. I'm assuming he's Australian, but I don't know. And he's actually the most sort of rambunctious action hero, and I think that sort of makes sense with the dynamic between those two countries. So that flavor is right in there. It's a pomegranate.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ozzy definitely has that childlike playfulness. He's giggling. He's shooting a rocket launcher, like we all do, at a car or a building. And he kind of giggles after he does it.
Yeah, and I mean, we know, we're not condoning violence, but in this scenario, it's actually skewering it. It's like, these guys are fucking idiots. That's the point. But it's fun and it's actually done in good taste, which is the fun part of this movie. And of course, Peter Jackson gets to interrogate himself. He gets to be the hero of the movie, maybe, I don't know. Find out. TubiTV or PopcornFlix. But Matt, I think I know we have a little bit more wine to share, but I think we'll just do that off air.
Okay.
And I just wanted to, do you have any last takeaways, any last messages for the people about this film? Anything that you've been dying to get off your chest about Bad Taste? This is your platform. This is your...
Okay.
Oh.
Well, I just think it's so underrated. I just think it's underrated, and more people need to see it. I mean, that's another reason why I chose it.
Yes, we're trying to spotlight it.
Yeah, and I also think, Peter Jackson, a lot of people only know him from Lord of the Rings or King Kong. They don't really appreciate what he brings to the table. I know a lot of people do, obviously, but I think there's some people out there watching this right now who don't really know his filmography. They don't really know Peter Jackson. They don't know his style, his sense of humor.
His roots.
This is the movie that put him on the map.
The terroir, the soil by which this wine and Lord of the Rings came from, is all in here. This was the seedling. I 100% agree. And having just seen it, I'm so glad to have you go back in time, and you also, it just sort of, as creatives ourselves, it just shows you the journey that this guy has gone on. He made this in 1987, and then it was 14 years later when Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring came out. And the two movies couldn't look any more different, except for that they're both set in New Zealand, both beautiful, and also they do clearly have the same voice and sort of whimsy. They're way different, but they're both wingnut films. And I consider myself a wingnut. I don't know about you. Do you find yourself...
Yeah.
And I hope you out there are wingnuts. I think anyone out here are definitely wingnuts. And thank you, Matt. Thank you for watching us. Have fun and have some rosé. There will be links in which you can purchase this wine to watch with Bad Taste. We did it after, so we could share it with you. But Matt, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, of course, anytime. And now it's time to just say that I've been sort of doing this whole weird thing for a friend of mine who passed this year. He had a lot of bouts with mental illness, and so I'm doing this as a charitable fundraiser for the Trevor Project, a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping LGBTQ plus youth. And it's honestly the only reason that I'm forcing myself to do this, or showing myself doing insane things. So if you can, donate or send this to anyone out there. Subscribe and follow along. This is only the 4th one. I already feel like I'm, way older than 22 and have gained 22 years in the last 4 days. And it's only going to continue, but I'm excited because these movies are great and these friends are great and these drinks are great and you're great. So speaking of, tomorrow, homework time, or, if tomorrow, it might not be tomorrow. We'll see. I'm editing all these. I'm not entirely sure what we have. What do we have, Matt? Oh, I think I know what we have. We have the 2019 film, trans horror film, Bit. And with a new friend that I met online who helped a lot with the criteria of these films, which were inspired by Letterboxd Hooptober, but also by Logan Ashley Kinsner, a writer that I found on Medium who really opened my eyes with and introduced me to Bit, which I've never seen, never heard of. But I'm excited to talk about it, excited to watch it with you. And I believe it's on our favorite app, PopcornFlix. So cue that up. I think it's on a bunch of other apps as well. And so yeah, I'll see you on another face of the moon.
Speaking of moons.
Oh.
Look at that one.
Look at that one as it changes.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Let's howl at the moon for the friends we miss. For those we wish were here to see this.
How?
Bad taste.